Hi guys, happy Friday. So, yeah, I've been up way too early, 5 o'clock. I have that nasty sleep taste in my mouth, and oh my god. So, how are we doing on Ouija boot camp? We doing good? Practicing our meditations, our heart breath, and maybe even the lesser vanishing ritual of the Pentagram, maybe? I hope. Well, if you want to, you don't have to, but... So, what do I want to tell you guys today before I have to go? I didn't think I'd be able to get a video in until later on tonight, and I didn't want to do that tonight, so... Jesus, is it raining like crazy. Alright, so... we have went over a lot. We have went over a lot in Ouija boot camp. All of the previous, posts, all of our different prayers and different things that we can add into our session. So we've covered those basics. We've covered protection. So we've got the LBRP, Lesser Vanishing Ritual of the Pentagram. And then we went into some sigil magic. And I will go into that more. I'll go into the sigil magic more, so. Books are ordered, books are on their way. It takes about a week and a half for me to get my own books, so then I will ship them to you, Sean, and you, Catherine. So I do have one space open. I know people have been following along, so if anybody wants to join, then you can, but you don't have to if you don't want to. And also this month I am doing $40 sessions for unlimited amount of time, questions. So usually it's 100. Yeah, it's usually up there pretty well. So it's $40 all the way until October 31st at midnight. And 2% of the proceeds will go to, Autism Speaks for Indiana. So that is my state, and that is what I am going to be doing. So the 2% is that is quite a bit. Will go to the proceeds for autism awareness in Indiana. So I thought that was a pretty good charity to go through. So you guys can find that through my website and my regular page, facebook.com/RyanOccultSpecialist. So, alright. I'm tired today. Alright, the conjuration of the four elements. So, I'm going to kind of just touch on these, just briefly. So we have a little bit of a better understanding of what not to piss off and what not, or what to piss off and what not to piss off, really. I think I broke my tooth. Okay, so the four elemental forms separate and specify through a kind of rough sketch the created spirits, which universal movement releases from the central fire. So, basically everything is made of matter and everything has its animism, so everything has spirit inside of it, which would be Baphomet, Orgon, Chi, Reiki, whatever you want to call that energy. So, so by taking hold of a thought, by taking hold of a thought which produces diverse forms, we become masters of the forms and have them serve our purposes. So, they can be dangerous. Yes, they can be dangerous. I didn't know this. So, the astral light, it is saturated with souls. Literally saturated with souls. And I really felt it last night. It was crazy. So, in which it releases through the incessant generation of beings. So, these souls have imperfect wills, which can be dominated and employed by more powerful wills. So we can actually, the goal of a magician or witch is to master themselves in the elements. So this is your getting into mastering of the elements. So, and that would be more our powerful wills over theirs. So, they then form great invisible chains and can cause or determine great elementary commotions. So yes, they can. The phenomena observed in this process of magic, and even more recently, still by M. Eudes de Merville, I don't know, have no other causes. So the elementary spirits are like children, literally like little kids. They most often torment those who deal with them, unless one can dominate them through high reason and with great severity. So how many of you do you think could control an elemental? Do you guys think you could banish one? Or put it to work if you needed to as a servitor? Alright, so it is these spirits which we designate under the name of occult elements. So it is they who often determine our disquieting or bizarre dreams for us. So it is they who produce movements in the dowsing wand and knocking sounds on the walls or furniture. That's, yes, very true. Okay, so, but they can never manifest another thought than our own. So, if we think of nothing, they speak to us with all the incoherence of dreams. So crazy dreams. So, they indifferently reproduce good and evil. So they are both, just like nature. Because they have no free will, and in consequence, no responsibility. They appear to ecstatics and people in incomplete and fugitive forms. I'm not really ecstatic. I'm more eccentric, I would say. So, okay, they are what caused the nightmares of St. Anthony and the most probably the visions of Swedenborg. They are either damned or guilty. They are curious and innocent. So, they can be used or abused like animals or children. So, the mage, the witch, the magi, the seer, whatever, who employs their cooperation, takes upon himself a terrible responsibility, because he must expiate all evil that he might have them do. So, and the grandeur of his torments will be proportionate to the extent of the power he will have exercised as their mediator. So, just basically the snake eating its own tail. That's what that is. So, to dominate the spirits and thus become a king of the occult elements, one must first submit to the 4 trials of the ancient initiations. And since these initiations no longer exist, one must have gone through analogous ordeals, such as exposing oneself without fear to fire, crossing over a chasm on a tree trunk or a plank, climbing a mountain peak during a storm, swimming out of a waterfall, or a dangerous whirlpool. So, you don't have fear. Have no fears. The man who is afraid of water will never be regenerated by the Undines. He who fears fire will be unable to command the salamanders. And as long as we feel vertigo, one must leave this life slips in peace and not irritate the gnomes, because the inferior spirits only obey a power that has been proven and shown to be their master, even in their own element. So it's pretty interesting stuff with the elementals. I thought it was. Anyway, I thought it was pretty cool. God. So, once one acquires through boldness and practice this incontestable power, one must impose the verb of one's will upon the elements through special consecration of air and of fire, of water and of earth. So, and this is the indispensable commencement to all magical operations. So, this, again, along with the blessing prayer that I gave you guys that I posted. Thank you, Kendra. I love you. That really does work too, the blessing prayer. Have any of you guys tried that before your magical workings or Ouija sessions? It really changes the atmosphere. You have a completely different atmosphere, and it's great. So the so this what I'm going to tell you is the indispensable commencement to all magical operations. So this is what you will do before you do the lesser vanishing ritual pentagram, because this is ceremonial magic. So one exercises the air by exhaling in the direction of the 4 cardinal points and by saying a bunch of stuff in Latin. So you would do your 4 cardinal directions. And I think this is, yes, okay, it's in the, thank you for giving a translation of the Latin, because I couldn't read a word of it except for spirit. Okay, so, and then you're going to go to each direction and then give it a heart breath, basically. And you will say, the Spirit of God moved upon the waters and breathed into the face of the man, the face of man, the breath of life. Let Michael be my leader, and I don't even know how to say that, Sabdiel, my servant, in light and by light. So, let the verb be my breath, and I will command the spirits of air thereby, and I will bridle, the horses of the sun with the will of my heart, and the thoughts of my mind, and the commandment of my right eye. I therefore exercise the creature of air by Pentagrammaton. That's, yes, Pentagrammaton. And in the name of Tetragrammaton, in which is firm will and true faith. Amen. Selah, fiat, so mote it be. So, and then one recites the prayer of the sylphs, after having traced their sign in the air with the feather of an eagle. So, that you don't have to worry about yet. I just wanted to get you guys familiar with the 4 directions first. We've already gone over those though. But I wanted to get you guys familiar with this first prayer of the exercising of the 4 cardinal directions. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. The conjuration of the 4. So it's pretty nice. So I will actually definitely blog this one for you guys if I can find any type of anything, a piece of something to I don't even have a piece of paper handy. Okay, just you guys will remind me, right? I have to bookmark this or I won't remember it all. There we go. Oh, Winter Park Winery, Fraser, Colorado. I remember that. So, there we go. Oh, that's amazing. Alright. Oh, look what came today. Isn't he cute? I love him. He's very heavy. And he could take out an eye or 2 eyes. I don't know. I love this thing. Jeez. When you wake up at 5 o'clock, you don't get any emails or anything, and then, once it starts to become noon, boom, you have, tons of emails. So, alright, those are the 4 directions, and that is how you basically honor them with that specific prayer. It would probably be better to do it in Latin, but I don't know Latin, so I'm not going to. Right now, I want to tell you guys a little bit more. Okay, the pentagram, the flaming pentagram. How much do you guys think you know about the pentagram? Did you know that it is the original cross of God? It represents God, Jesus, disciples, God embodying us. I don't get calls. I can't get calls. Whoever tries to call that phone, I can't get calls. So, alright. So, we now arrive at the explanation and the consecration of the holy and mysterious pentagram. It's so much more powerful than I would have ever imagined. So, here the ignorant and the superstitious may shut this book. They will only see shadows or will be scandalized. So, if you have fears or anything, then no, it's not for you. Jeez, people. Okay, so the pentagram, which in the Gnostic schools we call the flaming star. That's what they do, that's what they call it in the Masonic temples. So, like the Freemasons. The flaming star. So, it is the sign of omnipotence and intellectual autocracy. I can't say that word. Autocracy, whatever. You guys know what I'm trying to say, right? I would hope. So, it is the star of the mages. It is the sign of the verb made flesh. And the verb is your breath. You, what you say, you speak. Therefore you are. I am, therefore you are. That is the verb. Very amazing. So, and following the direction of its rays, this absolute symbol in magic represents good or evil, order or disorder. The blessed lamb of Ormus, which is gold, liquid gold is Ormus, and of St. John, or the cursed goat of Mendes. And I don't buy too much into that cursed goat of Mendes because Levi lived way before Wicca was even thought of. Way before Wicca, and he died before Wicca even popped up. So, the stuff about the witches in his book, he just didn't know. So it is initiation or profanation. It is Lucifer or Vesper. Alright, so Lucifer is the morning star. What do you guys think Vesper is? The ancients didn't know that Lucifer, that it was the same star. Venus is what you can see at night and in the daytime. So they called it Vesper for the night star, which is completely, I think that's cute. So the star of the morning or of the evening. So, yes, before the ancient Latin people realized that the morning and the evening stars were the same planet, Venus, Lucifer, light-bearer, was the name of the morning star. Vesper, meaning evening, was the name of the evening star. Actually, I kind of like that. Two different aspects. Duality of Lucifer. So it is Mary or Lilith. It is victory or death. It is the light or the night. The pentagram, when pointing two of its rays upwards, represents Satan, or the goat of the Sabbath. So, it represents energy being pulled down, manifestation, when it's inverted. So, this says, the goat of the Sabbath, which is baffle me, but I wouldn't put too much thought into the goat of the Sabbath. Not to the evil. I wouldn't, So, and it also represents the Savior when it points a single ray upward. How strange. I love it. So, alright, so the pentagram is also the figure of the human body with 4 members and a single point which must represent the head. So, a human figure head downwards naturally represents the demon. Demon in Latin means helpful spirit. So, but this is referring to actual demons, like bad shit that you don't want to mess with. So that is to say, the subversion of the intellect, disorder or madness. So nothing like demonic entities, but that frame of mind. So, yet, if magic is a reality in the occult science is the true law of the three worlds. This absolute sign, this sign which is it's as ancient as history, and even beyond history. We must exercise and exercises in effect an incalculable influence upon the spirits which are released from their material envelope. So whatever way you have the pentagram going, whatever way you have it going, like mine's right side up, so it's, you know, it's drawing in the energy. Now if I was bringing down something, I would use it reversed, but that's just me. I've done that forever, and that's what I think, and that's how I feel towards the pentagram. So it's pretty cool. Lots of information. Did a lot of, I actually did a little outline this morning at like 6 o'clock. After like 4 pots of coffee. So, this is some good stuff. Alright, so yes. The sign of the pentagram is also called the sign of the microcosm. The lesser countenance, it's the lesser countenance of God. It is what the microcosm is, which would be us. So, we are the microcosms, whereas God, Goddess, the all source, Baphomet, whatever you want to call it, is the, macrocosm. The macrocosm. So, okay, that is the sign of the microcosm, and it represents what the Kabbalists of the book Zohar called the prosperous. So the complete understanding of the pentagram is the key to the two worlds. So it is philosophy and absolute natural science. Do you guys remember? Does anybody remember? Because here in wow, is it really windy? So here in the States, we were taught about the pentagram in nature, what it meant, what it represented, and all of that. And it did. It appears in nature. That's where you find the pentagram. So it's a natural. It is a complete philosophy in itself. And you could literally make it your faith, your religion. I mean, that's how deep this one star goes. It's pretty cool. So, alright, so it's the key. It's the key to all, to everything, to life. So, just like the Ankh. So, alright. The sign of the pentagram must be composed of the 7 metals, or at least be drawn with pure gold on white marble. So if we are dealing in ceremonial magic, you want to stay very true to every little detail and aspect. Of course, I mean, we are limited, you know, we are limited in what we can afford, so don't worry about it. Not right now, anyway. So, we can also draw it with vermilion on the skin of a lamb without defect or blemish. Then this is a symbol of integrity and of light. So I would not do that. I mean, I don't even think I'd do a real, you know, one that was ethically, I might be able to, I don't know. I'm not sure. So, the marble must be virgin, and this is to say never have been previously made use for other things. The skin of the lamb, I don't think I could do that, must be prepared under the auspices of the sun. So this is like, when was this book written first? Let me see when this book was first written. I don't even know. Okay, it was, this was redone in 2017. So, yeah, 1810. And then he died in 1875, the author. Oh, for Levi. So yes, think back to 1810 through 1875. The year. So, and this is what was done, and this is what Christians literally do today. So listen on. Alright. The Lamb. I don't even know if I can read this. Okay, yeah, I've got to suck it up because a true magician wouldn't be, So the Lamb must have had his throat cut during Easter with a new knife, and the skin must be salted with salt, consecrated through magical operations. Okay, we're good with that. I'm good with that. So any negligence regarding a single one of these ceremonies, which seem difficult and arbitrary, will abort the entire process of the entire success of any great work of science. Can't do it. I couldn't do that. Poor goat, or poor lamb, or whatever. So, okay, one consecrates the pentagram with the 4 elements. So, this is what we can do. I will blog all this for you guys so you don't have to worry. I'm feeling extra. I didn't break a tooth. It hurts. I'm feeling extra nice today. So, one consecrates the pentagram with the 4 elements. One breathes 5 times upon the magical figure. One sprays it with consecrated water, and then you dry it by the smoke of the 5 perfumes. If anybody has any idea of any alternatives, I know in ceremonial magic you are supposed to stick to tradition. You are supposed to. That's how it works, because it's tried, true, and tested. Tried, true, and tested. So, here are the name of the 5 perfumes. So, we have, it's an incense blend. So we have myrrh. Oh, well, I have that. Aloe, sulfur. Where would one get sulfur? I don't know where one would purchase sulfur. And camphor. So I know where to get all that. I just don't know why sulfur. No, 100% sure. Okay, so to which one can add a bit of white resin? What kind of white resin? Like. From what? The white sandalwood tree? The red? The white what? That's I'm confused. Copal, white resin, and ambergris? Ambergris, I think. So, alright. Okay, then one blows 5 times while pronouncing the names of the 5 spirits of the pentagram. So this is the cool part. This ties into the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. This talks about the actual other aspect of it. So, alright, so yes, wherever we would be able to get a bit of white resin, what would that be? I'm not sure, and I don't know what ambergris is, or ambergris? Ambergris. So, okay, and then one will blow 5 times while pronouncing the name of the 5 spirits, who are Gabriel, Raphael, that looks like anal, but I know it's not, Anael, Samael, and Orifael. I'll blog this, don't worry. Okay. Then, one places the pentagram, well, that's the pentacle, on the ground, facing the north. Then, south towards the orient, the occident, and towards the center of the astronomical cross. And one pronounces one after one after another, the letters of the sacred tetragrammaton. So, okay, then you must say this in a very lowered voice. The blessed names of the Aleph and the mysterious Tayu reunited in the Kabbalistic name of Azoth. So, just in a very meaningful but low tone. So I would say Azoth. I don't know if you vibrate these. It didn't say. So, then the pentagram must be placed on the altar of incense. So, do you have an altar of incense? I don't. Not yet, anyway. And under the tripod of the evocations, what's that? Would that be the tripod of the black mirror? Or under the tripod of the triangle of manifestation? So, okay. The operator must also wear the figure on himself along with that of the macrocosm, that is to say, the six-pointed star. So, you do need the six-pointed star. It is also a very magical symbol. So, composed of two crossed and superimposed triangles. So, when one evokes a spirit of the light, one must turn the head of the star, that is to say, one of its points, towards the tripod of evocation, and the two inferior points toward the altar of incense. So one does the contrary if it is for a spirit of darkness, but the operator must then take care to hold the end of the wand or the point of the sword over the head of the pentagram. So, say we are doing west, this way, towards you guys. I would take it, I would place my, let's see, it would be on this side, so I would take it and point it, if it's right side up, I would take it and twist it so the point down here would be turned facing east, and then thus that would be pointing at my altar. I would actually be pointing where I burn my incense, which you guys can barely see, but it is right here with the double Ouijas. So it gets a little interesting, very interesting. So yes, I am still curious about the herbs and the tripod. Okay, so we have already said that the signs are the active verb of the will, yet the will must provide its complete verb in order to be transformed into action. And any single negligence representing an idle or double word or a doubting word. So if you're doubting any of this, forget it. Don't do it. This strikes the entire operation with falsehood and powerlessness and turns all the forces which were spent in vain back against the operator. So, just be careful. Be careful. Just think before you do your magic. Divination before, so you know if it's going to be a bad outcome, if it's going to be a good outcome. Just make sure you do some kind of divination technique, just so you are perfectly safe. Alright, so, and then you don't want to call these spirits up from the pentagram, and then they come and you fumble, and then the entire thing is it just backfires. So it doesn't just not work, but it just backfires. So one must thus absolutely abstain from magical ceremonies or accomplish them all scrupulously and exactly. So basically what it's saying is you either take your ritual, your magic, very seriously, do them correctly, or don't do them at all. So And that's very true. The pentagram drawn with the luminous lines on glass through the means of an electrical machine. It's funny to hear him speak of an engraver in the future. So, this also exerts a great influence over the spirits and terrifies phantoms. That is because you are thank you for whoever said something about Anton LaVey. So yeah, because you are doing, I mean, if you're literally etching that in, with one of those machines, or if you're, if you work with glass and you have a glass cutter, and you can actually, engrave and then inlay it with some kind of paint, you are putting your all into that working. So that is why it is pretty powerful. So the ancient magicians drew the sign of the pentagram on the threshold of their door to stop evil spirits from entering and to keep good spirits from leaving. So this constraint resulted from the direction in which the rays of the star were pointing. So it just definitely depends. Wherever the pentagrams are, they're pointing. So, and I can kind of see why a lot of people mess up. I'm realizing this, that why they mess up. Alright, so the 2 points towards the outside repelled evil spirits. 2 points towards the inside kept them prisoner. And thus you could use to seal the Lesser Key of Solomon and bind them and make them free. So, a single point towards the inside captured good spirits. You don't want to capture a good spirit. The good spirits are going to stick with you. Your intention is what you vibrate. Alright. So, all of these magical theories based on, this is great, on the unique doctrine of Hermes or Thoth, and on the analogical inductions of the science, have always been confirmed by ecstatic visions and by the convulsions of cataleptics said to be possessed by the spirits. So, okay, now, the G which the Freemasons placed in the middle of the flaming star signifies gnosis and generation. The two sacred words of the ancient Kabbalah. They also mean grand architect, because the pentagram, from whichever way we look at it, represents an A. So, I do have the tetragrammatron with me. There's no G in it, but there are all the proper signs. Inside, all the astrological signs, the dagger, we have the wand, we have the cup, we have the 6-pointed star, all in one, right there. So that's very powerful. And then, obviously, that's something to scry with. Very powerful. I love it. Okay. Now, so I'm sure you guys have seen with the G. When we go by, I used to go by my, we have a Masonic Lodge, or Freemasons, Masonic Lodge, and their 6-pointed star, they have that G in the middle, and I think it's purple. So, but yes, it always represents an A. So, in disposing it in a manner such that 2 of its points are above and 1 single point below, we can see the horns, the ears, and the beard of the goat of Mendes, or Baphomet. the witch's god, the god of the witches, and it becomes a sign, the sign of infernal evocations. So I kind of disagree with that. So the allegorical star of the mages is nothing other than the mysterious pentagram, and those three kings, children of Zoroaster, led by the flaming star to the cradle of the microcosmic god. The three mages that brought Jesus frankincense, gold, and myrrh. So, it suffice to prove the entirely Kabbalistic and truly magical origins of Christian doctrine. Kaboom. We just blew open that box right there, Pandora's box. So, one of the kings is white, the other is black, and the third one is brown. The white offers gold, symbol of life and the light. The black man offers myrrh, image of death and the night. The brown person, frankincense, emblem of the divinity of the doctrine. The doctrine, which is the, doctrine of Hermes Trismegistus, or the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, or the Emerald Tablets of Hermes. So, yes, it's the emblem of the divinity of the doctrine, which conciles the two principles. Then they return to their country by another road, to show that a new cult is but a new road for bringing humanity to the unique religion, that of the sacred ternary. What does that word mean? I need to find out what that word means, or I won't be happy ever again. I really won't. So we have to find out what that word means real quick. Okay, where was that word? Tyranny. Is that the word that I just said, you guys? Shit. Ternary. What does tyranny mean?
The definition of heron is gray or white wading bird with long neck and long legs and, usually, long bill.
What does T-E-R...
You were saying?
What does T-E-R-A-R-N-Y...
Here's what I found on the web for what does tyranny.
I don't know what it means. But I will find out. Sorry, guys. I'm very sorry. So, where to go? Okay, and the radiant pentagram. So the only eternal Catholicism. So in the book of Revelation, St. John sees the same star fall from the sky to earth. It is then called wormwood, or bitterness, and all the waters become bitter. This is the striking image of the materialization of the doctrine, which produces fanaticism and the bitterness of controversy. So you guys can see where that would go. Alright. So. Alright. Okay, so it is to Christianity itself that we can then address this speech of Isaiah's. How art thou fallen from heaven, O brilliant star, who wert so splendid in thy morning? But the pentagram profaned by man. Everything is corrupted by men. Not specifically a man, but people. So, it still shines without shadows in the right hand of the verb of truth. So, where'd I go? Oh, and the inspirational voice assures to him who overcomes that he will be given the morning star. So, the solemnly promised rehabilitation of the star of Lucifer. So, as we can see, all the mysteries of magic, all the symbols of the gnosis, all figures of occultism, all the Kabbalistic keys of the prophecies are summarized in the sign of the Pentagram that Paracelsus proclaims as the most great and most powerful of all the signs. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting, isn't it, guys? I think it's wonderful. So, after that, should one be surprised by the confidence of the mages and the real influence exerted by this sign upon the spirits of all the hierarchies? Gives you a totally different meaning, totally different feeling of even wearing the pentagram. So, those who misunderstand the sign of the cross, literally it is the cross, tremble before the aspect of the star of the microcosm. The mage, on the contrary, when he feels his will weakening, looks upon the symbol, takes it in his right hand, and feels armed with intellectual omnipotence. As long as he is truly a king worthy of being led by the star to the cradle of divine realization. So, as long as he knows, he dares, he wills, and remains silent. As long as he is aware of the uses of the pentagram, of the cup, of the wand, and of the sword. Finally, as long as the intrepid gaze of his soul corresponds to those two ever open eyes, which the superior point of our pentagram present to him. That right there. So, if you guys want me to blog that for you, I will. Lots of good information in there. Lots of very good information in there. So I'm just trying to do more of the symbolism, so we can really more fully understand what we're doing. So it just brings more light to our workings, to what we do, all of this. It's great. It's really seriously great. I never wake up feeling this great, and I did. And boom, this came. So that is pretty sacred. And then I had Baphomet bless it, and you guys all saw the pictures last night of the incense, the evocation. I literally asked for signs. That's evocation with Baphomet. So, there you go. So, just keep practicing, doing the meditation, keep journaling, and just keep going. So I'll blog all this for you guys tonight when I get home, or this afternoon when I get back, and we will go from there. So, just remember that $40 sessions, unlimited, could be an hour, 2 hours, doesn't matter. So, alright guys. Yes. That's all I have to say, I think. I don't know, I'm so tired. Kinda. So, although I spilled dragon's blood all over my shirt yesterday, so I had to wash it again, and it still smells like dragon's blood. So, it's washed. But, alright guys, I will, yes, see you all tonight. So, I'm looking forward to talking to everybody and seeing where we're at. So, alright guys, I love you all with all of my heart. All the way from Venus, all the way back down. And I will see you guys tomorrow. So, everybody have a good weekend. And make sure you blog all your stuff. Write it down, journal it, do whatever you gotta do. So, alright guys, I love you all. And everybody have a good weekend.